Right, let's start this. Okay, so let me share you this screen. Yeah, I hope you can hear me very well at your end. So we were discussing the database lesson, right, which is the ninth lesson and the last lesson of your textbook, right? So it is about storing data manually and electronically. So last time we discussed about what is a database and how the things are being stored during the time, like from the past to the present, right? And the advantages of the databases and the drawbacks which were there with the manual system, and how the electronic system has overcome those things, right? But we didn't experience how it happens, right? Today we are going to create the database and see how those things get really into the places, right? And we discuss about the validations of the data, and we discuss about different database techniques, or like the way of storing things, and we get to know about the components of the database, database is a collection of tables, and table is collection of records, and record is collection of data, right? So which we call a tuple as well, right? So inside the table, the column is named as a field, and row is named as a record, right? So that's how the database jargon is working, right? And tables is also called a relation, right? So those kind of things we discussed during the last week, and I have told you to write down some notes from your textbook, so I hope you are completed those things at your place, right? And next week I will ask you to send the pictures of your notes, right, which you have written down to the books. So be prepared for it, right? And yeah, we discussed these the terms which we call the primary key, foreign key, and composite primary key, those things. So like the primary key, we get to know that the primary key field is a field which is inside a table, where we can identify a record uniquely, right? So a like to qualify it as a primary key, we should have a field with unique values, right? So that particular field should have unique attributes, like national identity card number, your admission number at the school, the email address that we are using, or some specific ID which is introduced by a particular organization, which is going to be different from each other, right? So that kind of qualities are there inside the primary key. And when that primary key field is used in some other table as a normal field, we call that normal field a foreign key, right? So only a primary key can be a foreign key in another table, right? We talked about the foreign key as well. And composite primary key is there to create a primary key by using more than one field, right? So there will be some cases, or there will be some scenarios where in a table you won't be able to find you won't be able to find a one particular column which contains unique values. So in that case, you have to combine two or more columns to create this what you call the composite primary key, right? So when you are creating the composite primary key, be sure to create it, and to search it, and to check it whether these fields together are creating something unique, right? Still, when you are uh, when you are combining fields, and those fields are having repeated items, that means that cannot be used as a primary key, because one best quality, or like a one good quality of a primary key is the uniqueness, which means it's not repeating, right? So those kind of terms we discussed, right? So as the foreign key, as we talked earlier, right? So then we were discussing what are the effects of having the primary key and the relational database. We get to know about a term called redundancy, right? So the redundancy means you are having the same data in many different places, right? So redundancy of data will lead you to many different problems, like the integrity issues will be arise and accuracy problems will be there. So inserting, deleting, updating process will be a like complex thing, or like a much time consuming thing for you, right? So those kind of things can be arise due to the redundancy, right? And apart from that, when you are having the manual database or like a redundant database, it is hard to search something, right? It is time consuming, and you should have a particular knowledge, or like you should know about the database to search something inside it when it is not a electronical one. Like the one who is handling it is the one who is having the ability to admit with it, right? So those kind of disadvantages were there in the manual database. So when it comes to the electronical database, we talked about it is helping us to minimize these things, right? So the one best thing that we can have from an electronic database, we can reduce the data redundancy. So reducing data redundancy will give you minimal accuracy problems. Your updating, deleting, and searching things will be much faster, very much faster, right? And it is portable, and it is very easy to store, and we can apply a proper security for that, right? So there are many different advantages when you are using an electronic database to store your data, right? So those are the things that we discussed. And another thing we discussed was the data types that a database can have, right? So I told you, like, there are like many different data types for different kinds of databases, but generally we will be having numeric type data, like integer and floating point real type data, and text type data, and as well as currency type data, where we when we are like storing something related to price, or some currency related thing, we use the currency data type. And date and time can be used to indicate the date and the time, as well as there will be data types like boolean, where we are going with the true and false scenarios, right? So those kind of data types can be there inside a database. So they may have different names, but their working or their purpose is the same, right? Like in some databases, the numbers are indicated as a number. In some databases, numbers are being like decomposed, like categorized into like integers, real, float, right? Those kind of places. So again, it is indicating a number, right? So it's better you remember the generic name or the generic idea of the data types, right? So we discussed and we matched some data types regarding this activity. So today we are there to convert the manual database to an electronic medium, right? So before we go to the conversion, the definition is there regarding an electronic medium, a collection of objects which facilitates planning and maintenance of the database to the user is called a database management system. So when it comes to the electronical database, we generally call it as a DBMS. So in the extraction, we said database management system, right? So this consists several objects, as your paragraph says. You can create tables inside this. You can create queries, forms, reports, and there are some other things like stored procedures, and there are many things, right? So you can manage those things with the electronical database, right? Kuten mä tappareaktin. Right. Yes, sorry for that. Yeah, so you will be finding many different objects in your database, right? So let's move into the electronical form, right? So the picture describes the things, and yes, people, before I move, it's better you copy down the it's better you indicate the things that you need to copy down to your book, right? So it's converting a manual database to an electronic medium. That's going to be your heading. And definition. It's better you take down the entire definition, a collection of object from that particular thing, and for this point, until this point, right? No need to get down the diagram, right? So please mark it and please copy it down, right? And yes, there are these are the examples for DBMSs. There are many, right? So like Access is the one that we are going to use, right? Which is produced by the Microsoft, right? And Base is from the Document Foundation, and it is an open source one. MS Access is a licensed version, which we have to pay and take, right? And Oracle, again, it was free for quite some time, but as I remember now, they are it is there with a license, so that means we have to purchase it, right? Yeah, now in the DBMS, so we are going to start it. So we are going to do it using the Microsoft Office Access, right? Even you can do it from the LibreOffice Base, right? Which is a free and open source one, and you can download it and have it without any problem. So if you are using the Microsoft Access, you need to buy a licensed version to work with this, right? So yeah, so this is the Access. It is there on the list, at the top of the list, since it is started from A. So here the Access gets open. Yeah, so this is 2019 version of the Office. So if you are having 2007, starting from 2007, the appearance looks very alike, but there are very little like differences, right, regarding the buttons and some other things, but the concept is same. So in the very first menu, we can create a blank database. or we can have templates, right? As we are having templates in the word processing software, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to go with the blank database, right? So we can start it freely and freshly by the scratch, right? So here we are click on the blank database, and they will ask they will ask a name to the database, and they will ask you to save it as well, right? So I'm going to change the place where I'm going to save this, right? So I'm choosing my O-level folder, and the database, it is there. One was there with the previous one, and here I'm storing this. Let's give some meaningful name for this, right? Let's say yes, school info, let's say. And it's better you choose the what we call, it's better you give names without the spacings. It's not a must, but when you are like if you do ICT for A level, you will find sometimes we need some names without spaces, because when we are creating the connections with a program and a database, sometimes it causes problem when they are having spaces in between the names, right? Path එක හරියට connect කරගන්න බැරි වෙන වගේ තත්ත්ව වෙනවා. Right, and now this the extension for the access database is ACCDB, right? So previously in the 2002-2003 format it was MDB, right? So in the 2000 format it was the same, and we are going to have the latest version. So it is the same extension which we are going to have from 2007 version onwards, right? It is ACCDB. So I'm pressing OK, right? And so my destination, or like the path, is defined, and I'm pressing the create button. So it will create me a new database. So now we are inside the database, which we where we can see the name of the database, which is the school info, right? And where it is being saved, right? And it's not very much different from your other Office packages. You are having the ribbon style, and ribbons are having many different things which are not very much closer to you, but it was like in the Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, those were like very familiar to you in some of the tabs. But here it's kind of a different things, but there are some things like text formatting and everything is here. But we are more concentrate on the objects that we were talking about, like the creating the tables, creating a query, and creating a report, those kind of things, right? Okay, let's see what's there on your textbook to go through, right? Because there are many things that we can do this. So they have talked about the starting of the DBMS software, and they straight away go to the planning a data table. So here they choose the accession number, title, author, price, number of books in here, right? So let's create the very same table, which the table name is library, which is shown over here, right? So we are going to create the library table now, right? So now when you are going to create the table, by default they are giving you a table over here, right? So we're going to create a table like a create karagena, but it is not being saved. It's just a unsaved table. And more importantly, one thing that you should know is there should be things called, there are particular views in here at the left hand side. So by this view you can change the appearance, or like actually the view that you can see now you are seeing the you can see the data sheet view. Now it is being selected over here. So when we are designing a table, we need to go to the design view, right? So the first thing that you need to do is you have to change this into the design view. So I'm changing it to the design view. When I'm changing it, it will ask a name for the table, because when it comes to the database, they are very cautious about saving the things in a correct manner, right? Because otherwise, there are very big possibilities in practical world to collapse data or lose data due to some power failures, some problems. So they always asking you to save the things, right? So I'm saving the table by saying library, and I'm say okay. So the library table. So this is the design view, right? So they are giving us the very first field as ID, so we can change it. So field names are the place where they let us to type the names of the fields, and here you can choose the data types. So like once you click in on this drop down, there are many different data types are here: short text, long text. So it is regarding the text types, right? Number, large number, so it is regarding the number. And date and time extended is there. Currency, auto number, so that means if we take auto number, it will start in from certain point and will increase the number, like after primary key එකක් වගේ පාවිච්චි කරනකොට auto number දුන්නොත් we don't need to bother about the primary key. It will increase, but it's only, again, it's only regarding a number, right? And yes, no, something like Boolean. And below of that, there are some advanced things like OLE objects is regarding a database connections, regarding a program, hyperlinks and attachments, calculated and lookup wizards. Those are some advanced things. So we are going to talk about until the yes, no data type, right? So it's better you remember these things, like what are the data types in the access. But in your examination, they may not ask name the type, name the data types of access database. They will like I said, they will ask it in the general manner, like numbers, text, date and times, years, no kind of things, right? So according to your textbook clarification, let's say what they have said here. So yeah, I need to see, like, accession number is there, title is there, and author, price, and number of books. And it's better it's better you use the shorter field names when you are creating a database, but with a meaningful manner, right? So uh, when you are creating it, you can specify what it is, right? I'll show you the things now. Here I'm going to say accession underscore number, right? Accession number. And what else they are saying? It's better we keep it on a side name. Yes. So accession number, the type of it, yeah, ask from Ami. Ami got those. Look, I want strawberry. Yeah, Ami will have that, baby. You go and ask from Ami. Ami is having those. Right? Huh? Run with it. So in the data types, here they have used text. So we don't have something called text now in here. So let's have short text, right? And for the title, again, I'm using short text. And the author, again a short text, and a price. So for price, they have used currency, right? And it will shows you with the how the things are going to be there, right? With the currency symbol, right? And the number of books. I'm going to have a short form of that number of books, right? And I'm going to choose the number, right? So those will be the data types that we are going to create, right? And next, it is about creating a primary key. Now, this particular table is already got a primary key, right? Right over here, right? මෙතන ඔයගලන්ට පේනවා ඇති key mark එක පේන්න තියෙනවා නේද? Right. See, this indicates the primary key, and you can, if you want, you can make something else as the primary key, right? That doesn't matter. But the thing is, we have to be very careful to input unique values to that. Now here, the author is the primary key, but when we are choosing a primary key, as I told you, we have to choose something which can have unique values. So the best place is the accession number as the primary key, right? So once we choose the primary key, once we choose the primary key, we can save this, right? So it's better you save it. So it will be saved, right? And you can see the structure of the table by moving to the data sheet view. See, now this structure is there, right? And you can see price, the currency symbol is right over here indicating dollar, and number of books indicating 0, since we have given it as the currency and number of books, right? Okay, so people, is it clear so far? Can I have the confirmation?
Yes, sir.
Right, great. How about others? Yes, everyone. Right, okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's move to the other part as well. Just a second, people. I need to close down some of the things, so otherwise it will make my desktop a busy place. Right. Then they're asking us to enter some data to the table, right? So this will take some time for you to do it, right? Data enter. So what you can do is you can go to the data sheet view and you can click on it, and you can have the values inside the data. So like you can directly input it, right? So like this. So for accession number, I'm going to assume a value, and for title, I'm going to give some title, right? Like ABC, right? Let's say author as someone, price, let's say 250, number of books 3. And you can move this in the cells here and there using the mouse or using the tab key. And to come backward, you can use the shift tab as well, right? And once we tap until the end, it will automatically goes to the next line, right? But pressing enter is also doing the same thing, right? Okay, so I'm going to quickly, I'm going to insert some data here, right? Yeah, so likewise, I can enter the data and I can save that, right? So remember always, if you need to enter the data, your view should be in the design view, right? If you, sorry, in the datasheet view. If you change it to the design view, you won't be seeing the place where you need to enter the data, right? So datasheet view will help. Okay, let's see what they're asking us to do. Creating a relational database, right? So now, before we go to the relational database, there are some things that they are clarifying with the relationships. Like there are some types when it comes to the database. We call this the cardinality between the tables, right? Or like the relationship between the tables. So they are category under 3 types. So like one to one, one to many, and many to many, right? So it's better you know about these things because it will be there in your question, right? It was there in the questions, some of the papers. So you need to know what's the idea behind this, right? So let me clarify it. So the first one is one-to-one relationship, right? So now one-to-one relationship is something like this. Now look at these tables. So marks table is there, student table is there. So now the first table that is that's what they are showing is uh, the entire data that you have, right? The admission number, name, date of birth, index number, and marks, right? But as you can see, there are 2 types of things, which is the details of the student as well as details of the marks, right? So what they are doing is they will decompose these data, the 1 week data, into 2 specific tables. And what we are doing is, by decomposing that, having the marks details on one particular table and having the student details in another particular table. So which is called the student table and the marks table. And how they are going to have the relation in between those 2 tables is using a primary key in another table, so which will make you a foreign key. So this admission number in the marks table is acting as a foreign key. Admission number in the student table is the primary key of the student table. So student will have admission number which will recognize a student separately, and in marks table, index number will be the primary key which will indicate a particular mark, and admission number here will give the clue who belongs this index number, right? And again, if you see the relationship between these 2 tables, each and every foreign key value is having one record in the other table, right? So this 1426 is referring into one particular record, 1426, because it is referred by the foreign key. All right, Dulagi. Yeah, we were talking about one-to-one relationship duo. So like what we were talking about is when this particular big table decomposes into two separate tables, it will be having two index numbers, right? Or like two primary keys is called the index number for the marks table and admission number to the student table. So to have the relationship here, they have what they have done is they have put the admission number in the marks table as a foreign key. Here it is the primary key. Admission number is primary key in here in the student table. So when it is used inside another table, it is called the foreign key, right? So by using these primary keys and foreign keys is the way we are creating the relationships, right? So if you need to find the relationship, you have to find what are the primary and foreign keys that they are relating with each other in two separate tables. Now here, if you analyze it, for one particular foreign key entry, there is only one particular primary key entry, right? So this says one-to-one relationship, right? So that means, and you can clarify it using just the marks table as well. So one particular admission number is having one particular index number, right? No index number is having the same admission number, or no admission number is having the same index number. So one index number with one admission number. So it is called one-to-one relationship. Got it, everyone? Just give me a confirmation whether you got it or not.
Yes, sir.
Right, great. Okay, Durag, no problem. Right. So in the latter part of that page, they have shown you how to show that relationship. See, so it says admission number is referring. So this particular admission number means the foreign key, and this is the primary key. So this diagram indicates this admission number refers the primary key admission number. So it clarifies, okay, this is going to be the relationship, and this is the primary key, and this is the foreign key, right? So when you are creating that particular relation in the DBMS or the access, it's going to look like this, right? And we are going to do that once we talk about these things, right? Okay, so the next one is one-to-many relationship. Now, to clarify the one-to-many relationships, they have taken this particular comparison, right? And it says if the tables are A and B, and if B is related related table, the following table shows one-to-many relationships. Yeah. So like before we go to this features, I'm going to show you how the relationship is. All right. So now look at this particular thing. So here they are having this student table and the facility fees table, right? And in the facility fees, there are receipt numbers, because when you are paying your facility fees, you will be given a receipt. So those payments will be tracked by the receipt. And in this scenario, they are like having the facility fees to different terms, right? So in the very in this particular one, Excuse me for a moment. Yes. So now when you are referring these two tables, you can find there are admission numbers, so which define the student separately, and there are receipt numbers which define the receipts separately, right? And it is having an admission number which is going to act as a foreign key inside this table. Now look at the relationship that they are having. This particular receipt number, which is the primary key, is being issued to the admission number 1426. We can assume it is for the first term. And this particular receipt number is again, yeah, excuse me people, so my connection was interrupted. So I'll go from the beginning. So we were talking about these two tables. Now, if you consider these two tables, admission number indicates the primary key of the student table, which will help you to identify a student separately. And in the facility fees table, receipt number is going to be the primary key of the facility fee table, which will identify the number of receipts, or like the receipts which has been issued separately. So if you look at this closely, this particular receipt is having an admission number called 1426, and the receipt number 1002 is also having the same admission number. So that means one particular entry, or like one particular receipt number, is belongs to a one particular student, and that particular student can have another receipt number when the other payment is being made. So that means one student can have many receipt numbers, right? Are you getting what I'm saying? One student can have many receipts numbers, but one's receipt number is there to one particular student only. Are you getting this? People, just confirm me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this kind of a relationship is called one to many. So we will illustrate it using the whiteboard as well.
I love you. Mom, why are you eating this?
Right. These were the previous drawings of yours. So let me have the pages. Yeah, just a second, people, until it is getting loaded. Okay. Yes. Right. So now if we consider about the thing that we just talk about, so if I take student on this side and fee is in that side, we can have the relationship between these two from these tables. We can say one particular student can have many fees. So since there are many receipt numbers, and one particular fee or like the receipt is belongs to only one particular student. So to clarify the final relationship between the student and the fee, what we can do is, using these two, we are going to choose the maximum one. So since these are equivalent, from this side, it's going to take 1. And using these two, we are going to take the maximum one, that means M. So this particular place indicates M. So it's one-to-many relationship that they are maintaining. Right? Okay. So to clarify the many-to-many one, right now here, again, they have indicate how the relationship works. Now, from the relationship, we won't be able to recognize whether it is one-to-one or one-to-many. But when you are doing it on the database, now look at the previous one. See, now when they are creating this particular thing, it was 1 over here and 1 over here. 1-to-1 it indicates. And when you are having this, look at what has happened. 1 over here, and they have used infinity symbol, which means many, over the other side. Right? Okay, so moving to the many-to-many relationship. Now to talk about the many-to-many relationship, I'm going to take this particular one. See? Now this is regarding the student table and the sports table. So student table is having the admission number, facility fee table. Hold on, what there says facility fee table. Anyway, date of birth. It shouldn't be the facility fee table, it should be the name, right? This is a printing mistake, right? And here it says sport number, sport, and number of permanent members. Now, this particular Kavindu Prabhashwar is doing both these sports, but in these two tables, it is not defined, right? How these things are going to happen. And this particular volleyball thing is done by these two students, which means Mohammed and Janit. Right now, how we are going to represent this? Now, like in the previous scenarios, if we shift the primary keys here and there, it's going to be a problem, neither. Like then hitanako sport number එක අපි මෙතනට add කරා කියලා. අපි මෙතනට sport number add කරොත්. Now you have to put 2 sport numbers regarding the Kavidu Prabhashwar. You have to say S001 and S002, which is an illegal thing. Because we can have only one data in a one single cell, right? So it's going to be an impractical scenario. And if you are going to have admission number over here, what will happen? S001 is done by 1426. Okay. And S002 is done by 1426 again. That is also okay. So one data. And when it comes to the third one, we are going to stuck because it is done by 1428, which is by the Muhammad, and 1429, which is by the Jamil again. So, which will be a problematic thing. So, as a solution for this, what we have done is we are creating a separate table by having these two primary keys, forming a composite primary key in that third table, and we will be having who is done which sport in that particular table, right? So that is what they have shown you in the next page. So if you see this closely, right, so you can see there are three tables: student table, sports table, and at the middle student sports table is there. So student table contains only the student details, sport table contains only the sport details, and this student sport table is containing both sport and student details. That means which student is participate on which sport, right? And there is a separate column they are maintaining to indicate the team, because in a team it has a sport as well as student, right? We can't say it is just having the members, right? So they got sport team. And again, we can't argue team is only have a sport. There are students as well, right? So that particular teams can be written with the student sport table. So now the problem is solved. 1429 student, he's over here. He's doing two sports, right? So what are those? S003 here, S is missing. S001. So these two things is done by the 1429. And now sport number S003. The other problem was, what was the other problem? It's 1428 and 1429. They are doing S003. So see, 148 and 149. It is being solved right over here, right? But you can see if you take the student sport table, you can't take admission number along, right? Yes, Dulage, it's not just the admission number, Dua. It is with sport number. See, both of them are being underlined. So the Dulagi was asking how it is, how they have underlined the admission number, because it is repeated, right? So they are not only underlying the admission number, but the sport number as well. So what will happen? Together, they will perform something unique, because you can't find 1426 S001 in any other cases, right? And 1426 S02 in any other cases. So this is called the composite primary key. So now what's happened with the relationship here? So if we take the major tables, the problem arises with student and sport neither. So from these three tables, we can say one student is doing many sport neither. So it indicates by these two things. And when we are saying it to the other way around, like one sport is done by many students, neither. So there are several scenarios like S001, S001, and S001. So it is done by many students, like 1426, this is done by 1428, and this is done by 1429. So these kind of things. Now, when we consider the final relationship in between the tables, we can say this is the maximum over here, M, and in here we are going to take the maximum over here, which is the M. So it is going to be many to many. According to the database standards, they are not going to use identical symbols, right? So in most of the cases, this is said as many to many by indicating M to N, not M to M, right? So that is an standard of a DBMS creation methods, right? So this is how we are going to figure out whether the relationship is a many to many one. Now, always remember, if it is going to be a many to many one, you can find a third table, which is having a composite key, and they are related to two other tables. May again method related, right? So this third table is related to other two tables, and it performs a composite primary key. Right, people, did you get this? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how about others? Clear, okay. How about the others? We got how many in our room? We got 10 in the room, yes. Okay. Right, great, brilliant. Okay, so when we are like creating this particular relationship on our electronic database, here what they have done, right? So in this structure, they have said how the reference are being, how the reference are there. Now this particular reference is wrong. It should be something like this. And here you should have the arrowhead. It's going to be a relationship, something like this. Right, and see how it happens when we use it in the database, the electronic database. It is having one over here and many over here. And here it is one over here and many over here. So to which part they are assigning the many side? It is to the student sport, that particular third table, which has admission number and sport ID both as a composite primary key. Right? So what you have to remember is, in the examination, if you are given a table structure and asked what is the relationship between these two tables, you have to search for the things. And how we are going to make the relationship? Using the primary keys and the foreign keys, right? So in one-to-one and one-to-many, it is easy to guess. You can see, you can find the foreign key and match that foreign key with particular primary key. That means අපිට එකම table එකෙන් හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් නේද? Like if you take the very first table, like which was talking about one to one, so මේ foreign key එක තියෙන තැන හොයාගත්තා, and we can consider that particular table and say one admission number is having one index number, so another admission number is having one index number. So you can search for this pattern. If it is like this, it is clearly going to be one-to-one, right? And the one-to-many part, it is easy again, neither. This is the place where we are having the foreign key. So from the foreign key, we are going to see one particular admission number is having how many. So like there are same admission numbers and different receipt names. Oh, I'm sorry. Different receipts name. That means one student, this is the same student. The one student has many receipts, right? So it is a one-to-many relationship. But you should be careful when it comes to the third type of things. So you should provide it with 3 tables. Otherwise, you won't be able to clarify it. May matter තියෙන table එක ඔයගලන්ට දෙන්නේ නැතුව උඩ එක්කෙනයි පහළ එක්කෙනයි විතරක් දුන්නොත් you won't be able to figure out what it is, right? You should have all 3 tables. So then again, you have to search where it contains the foreign keys. Right, so the foreign keys are contains right over here. Right, so foreign keys are staying right over here. So using the foreign keys, we can find one particular student 1426 is doing many sports, and one particular sport is done by many students, right? So from here it says many, and from here it says many, so it is many to many, right? Okay, are you clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. So be careful, huh? And be very conscious when you are having something like this. Okay, so moving forward. Now, once we figure out the relationship types, we are going to have the relationship now, right? Let's see how we are going to have the relationship. Now, creating the relational data using the database management system software. Yes. So what we have to do is we are going to create these 2 tables, which call the student and the marks. And we are going to, we are trying to have this relationship, right? Okay, so let's see how that is done. And for that, I may need some, the data inserted into the particular tables, right? Let me see, my previous one is regarding that particular one. So it will be easy to illustrate if it does. Oh, yes, correct. So this is my student table, and this is, sorry, this is my marks table, and this is my student table, right? So now what I have done is I have already created the relationship between these 2 tables. That is why this one can be expanded like this. So I'm going to take out that relationship first, right? Okay, so just a second. From there, we are going to remove this particular relationships. Yeah, so this is the relationship that I have made, and I'm going to delete this. So I'm clearing the layout of this. Do you want to continue? Yeah, let's say yes. Yeah, so now my marks table and my student table. Yeah, it is still having the things inside this. Yeah, no mind. So I'll show you how the how that particular thing can be created, right? So let's go with your book, and here they say how they are asking you to do it. So they are asking you to create two tables, right, first, and the relationship build up is given in here. So according to that, select database tools, select relationship commands, select the tables which you are going to relate, right? So here we are going, this is the database tools, right? So here I'm taking the relationships, right? So now we are going to create a relationship uh, from these tables, right? So we need to export the tables first. So here it's explain how to do that. Click add command button, indicate the number of the tables required, then drag the primary key of the foreign keys of the table which should be related, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to click the add button. This version it's a little bit different. Let me see, do we have it? It's in the right click menu. Yeah, I can go for the show tables, yes. And yeah, let me see how we are going to take it from the menu, not from the add-ins. No, it is just giving me the right click one, show tables one. Yeah, hold on, let me take this again. Oh yes, and since I'm having the relationship, they are not going me to clear the things paper. So clearing the layout won't give us. Let's search it through here. Mhm. Yeah, this is the one they are talking about at table thing. If I remove this, oh yeah, still it is there. Okay, here we go. So how we are going to do it? Database tools and press the relationship, right? That is how we are going to do that. So here I'm going from the beginning. So you are going to the database tool, relationship, and add table, right? So once you are adding it, you can say what are the tables that need to be taken, right? So you are going to add that particular one. So marks will be add. So marks is already there and student will be add, right? So closing it, right? then we are going to edit the relationship over here, right? Not a relationship එක තියෙන නිසා තමයි ඔයගලට මේක දැන් වෙන්න ගන්න බැරි වෙන්නේ. මේගොල්ලෝ කියලා තියෙන විදිහින් යන්න බලන්න. Yeah, මේ track කරන එක ඔයගලන්ට මෙතන පෙන්නන්න බැරි වෙනවා. Yeah, let me try it from here. Yes, yeah, it will get work. So then what I am going to do is the primary key of the student table, student number, admission number is indicates over here, right? So now what you have to assume is these are the tables that you have add. මේ දෙන නෑ කියලා හිතන්න. මොකද මේ දෙන මම කලින් add කරලා තියෙන නිසා I can't get rid of these two, right? මට data දාගන්න වෙලා යන නිසා මම මේක පාවිච්චි කරනවා. Right? So think about these two tables are there. What you have to do is you have to create the relationship between these two. So either you can take this and connect it with here, and it will ask how to connect this thing, right? Or else you can take this admission number and drag it drop here. Still you are getting the same table, right? So I'm going to get rid of the maximization part. So here I'm dragging it over here, so it will open this particular one. And here it is asking what is the field that you are going to relate it with the student table. So I'm giving you the admission number, and they're asking what is the relationship that you are going to deal with the marks table. And I am going to again select the admission number because that is the primary key, foreign key, what you call the relationship. And here you can say enforce referential integrity. That is because when you are enforce something like this, if you are going to delete an admission number, they will alert you regarding this particular admission number, there is an entry in the marks table. So you better delete that thing and delete this later. Right? එතකොට අපිට accidentally අපේ අතින් data delete වෙන එක නතර වෙනවා. Right? And now this cascade update related fields means you can have those things together inside the tables, right? And cascade delete records, and also giving you the same facility, right? So for the moment I'm going to get rid of these two, and I'm asking it to create. Yeah, it says the database yeah, so it is, they are saying we can't create that because the relationship is there already, right? So I won't be able to have this, right? So clearing things up will clear out the things, right? Yes. So once you are having this cascading thing, this is the facility that you are going to get, right? So from each and every table, so here it says the marks, the student is having many marks, so regarding that particular student, the marks are shown over here, right? So if you enter something right over here, it will automatically enters to the marks table as well, right? So I'll go through what I have done already again, right? We have gone to the database tool and we were clicking on the relationship, and once we click on that, this design one is there, so we can click on add table, and we can either we can drag and drop these things, and we can select these two and say add, and it will be added. And this particular relationship will not be there when you are adding it, right? So to have that relationship, we have to take the admission number and put it right over here. So it will gives you that window showing which one is to set which one is going to related with the other table, right? So in this window, so once you set these things over here, then only you can see what's the relation in between these two. So remember, when you are setting the relationship, you have to always choose the corresponding primary key and the foreign key, right? So in the student table, according to our scenario, it's the admission number of the student table, and in the marks, again, it's the admission number that we are going to choose, and we say create, right? Hold on. It creates me a separate one. Yeah, now it's giving me another student entity, right? Yeah, let's get rid of it later. All right. So that is how you are going to create the things, right? Yeah, need to see how these things get in out. Edit relationship. We can't get rid of it. Yeah, we can say height table, but it will still be there. Never mind. No, we can just hide it, right? So this is how the relationship mapping is happened. Right, people, did you got this?
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. How about others? Okay. So let's move forward. Now, after creating the relationship, yeah. Yeah, they are saying they are showing you the output of the relationship. Then they are talking about the forms. Now, forms is an important part because we can create the forms and say, or like allow the users of this database to not to add the details directly into this, but through a form, right? So form is going to be something like this. Now here I have created a form. I'm going to delete that particular thing, right? As well as these two reports. And this query as well, because we need those queries later, right? Okay, now I have only the tables, right? So to create a form, you should go to the create tab, right? So inside that create tab, there are many different things. You can create a table from here. You can create a query, which we are going to do later, and you can create a form. So you can do it using a blank form and designed by yourself. But here in our book, they are talking about the form designing, using the form design one with the form wizard, right? Let me check. Is it still with the form wizard? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Right, so we can go to the form designing one. Either you can go with form wizard, and when you click the form wizard, you are given which kind of a form and what are the things that you need to add into the form, right? So the form that they are expecting us to create is this. Right? When the main forms දෙක තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ හදාගන්න හදන්නේ. Right? So this is the way they have shown us. We need the admission number, surname with initial, date of birth, telephone number, admission fees, and the place to add those things. So in the left hand side things, we are called them as the labels, where we are going to see when the form is there. And the right hand side is the places which we are given the facility to input the data into it. So those are text boxes. And at the below, they have taken two buttons, which is called the add new record and delete record, right? So what you are going to do is first, let me take this again. So either you can go with form design thing. So you can click it and you can take the things from the fields and you can design it over here, right? So to add the fields, you can go with this, right? And add existing field. So I can show the tables at the right hand side, and I can expand the marks and I can expand the student. So if we are creating the student table, we can take this, we can drag it and drop it over here, right? So once you drop in it, you will be given two separate things, which is the admission number, the text box, and the what you call the data label, right? So you can take admission number separately over here, and you can separate this particular thing right over here. Hold on. I need to break the link in between these two. Here. So you can break the link using this ash color box. So you can manage it to place the things. So the admission number is okay. And yeah, I have opened the property sheet. And here in the surname with initials, I'm going to take. Right, so surname with initials will be here. And the text box of it will be right over here, right? And date of birth I'm taking. We'll take it right over here, and date of birth is just here, and telephone number. And admission fees. Now, what are these fields? These are the things that we have add to our tables. The table එකේ තියෙන fields ටික තමයි මේගොල්ලෝ මෙතන පෙන්නන්නේ. We can create it using existing fields, or either we can create one with our imagination. Again, අපි හිතලා එකක් හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. We can create according to this. So the fields are okay now. So this will be displayed on the form. And this is going to be a text box for that. So if I need to see, now I'm in the design view, if I need to see the form view, I can move to the form view. This is the form view, right? So these will be the numbers, and these are the things that which is already in your database, right? So by using these arrow keys, you can move your data here and there. Right, and you can add a new record by using this particular button, but අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කරන්නේ ලොකු buttons දෙකක් මෙතනට create කරනවා to do those things, like without scrolling it from here and there, right? So the very last now from this particular, just the arrowhead, we can go for next and previous. And from the arrowhead with a like me arrowhead we can move to the very first record and very last record using that instant. And this is going to use the new record. Right, magnify right, these are the ones we are talking about. So may again a part in the first record last record and from these two we can move through the records one after the other. All right, so and if you need to input a button, so we need to go to the design view again, right? And we can add the things, add the buttons using this particular components, right? So now this is called the text box, this is called a label, right? And this is the button which has 4 X's at the top of it. So I can drag a button, like I can click here. I can't drag it here. I have to click it, click the button icon, and you have to draw it right over here. So once you draw a button, and it is asking how that button and what's that button is to be, why that button is there. So you have to say what are the things that button can do, what's its capabilities, right? So you can say, you can choose this. There are many categories over here. So from a category, the actions are listed over here. So like navigation, you can make it as a find next button, find record button, find first record button, likewise. And record operation, add a new record, delete a record, duplicate a record, print it, save it, and undo the record, likewise. So from form operations, like there are many. So from record operations, I'm going to create add new record. So I'm going to set it and press next. And it is asking what is going to be there. Do you want text or picture on the button? So like if you want a text, you can go for text. If you want a picture, you can like can take a picture. Like මෙතන නම් මේ pencil එකක් දාන්න මේගොල්ලෝ ඊට දෙනවා. නැත්නම් ඔයාලා මෙතනින් browse කරලා you can find a picture from your computer and insert it here. For the moment, I'm going to go with text. So I say add new record. Right. Then I'm pressing OK. Pressing next. And what do you want to name the button? Can name button එකේ නම මොන විදිහටද තියෙන්නේ කියලා. So අපි දැන් කියන්නේ programming වලට තමයි මේක ඔයගලන්ට ගොඩක් වැදගත් වෙන්නේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ moment එකේ you are not going to do the programming part, but when you are programming it, it's better you give a meaningful name so you can remember. අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් standards විදිහට දෙනවා නම් we are going to tell BTN to indicate the button and the first name BTN add, right? So then we are going to finish it. So my button is here as the add new record, right? So if I move to the form view, now my form is something like this. So if I click this, my new record will be there. So my last record is record number 4. If I move it again, I'm getting the a place to have a new record. So if I give the records like 005, right? I'll say DT and you can choose a date and telephone number. You can print something, and for fees you can give some value, and add new record is given. So once the add new record is given, it is already been added. So you can go to the student table and you have to close the student table. Now here we don't have a 005 record here. So I can close it. And if I open the student table again, so here I am having the 5th record. So this is a very good option for the people who are using the database without giving the permission to touch the tables. Allow them to add, delete, and do the operations to the tables. Right, people, is it clear? By next week, we are going to make some more forms and do some practicals as well. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. How about others? Right, great. Okay, so I'm going to end the session from this point. So by next week, we will be able to finish up the lesson. And people, then after, you will be going to have a full paper regarding the grade 10. So prepare for it, right? So I'm going to end the session by this week from this point. So by next week, we are going to end the lesson and move to the grade 11 if we had a time, right? I don't think we will be having time because we need to create some reports and all these things by next week. So be there on time, right? So I'll see you on the next week for the very same time, right? Thank you very much, people. So I'm going to end the session from this point.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.